Rehabilitation, and we have some updates for you today, 4 in total. All right, so first, I have some really exciting recruitment and hiring updates for you. Are you seeing the second slide? Just wanting to make sure. Yep, okay. So I want to first welcome Hannah Ahrens. Hannah Ahrens is Pre-ETS coordinator for Central and Eastern Oregon. We had really strong, wonderful applicants for all of these positions on our team, and we are so lucky to welcome Hannah to our team, who has been a YTP transition specialist for the last 5 years in Central Oregon. She has a deep understanding of challenges and realities faced by youth today, and a passion for empowering them to face these with confidence. She is known for developing programs that enhance service delivery for students with an approach that is innovative, compassionate, and genuine. And she's a trusted member of the larger school, business, community network, and family network that work together to realize positive futures for youth with disabilities in Oregon. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Hannah. Hannah, are you on today?
I'm here, yes.
You want to? Oh, awesome. Welcome, Hannah. We're so excited to have you.
And I'm so excited to be here and be a part of the team.
Awesome. All right. We also have news. Welcome Michelle Pruden as our Youth Services Coordinator for Southern Oregon. Michelle Pruden has been the YTP coordinator for Brookings Harbor School District for 13 years. She has served on the OSTC board, the CIS board. She was a key partner in the Oregon STEM Eco project. She brings vision, heart, and a can-do attitude and experience to all of this work that we are embarking on together. And she is very student and family-centered in her creative and out-of-the-box solutions to meet community and student needs. I don't think Michelle is on here because she's teaching right now, but if I'm wrong, Michelle, are you here right now? Nope, I didn't think so, but everybody please join me in welcoming Michelle Pruden as well. Okay, and our next update is welcoming Tracy Clark. We want to welcome Tracy Clark, who will be our Pre-ETS coordinator for the Mid-Valley and Southern Oregon regions. And Tracy brings over 20 years of experience with Oregon VR, including supporting secondary and post-secondary schools throughout Lane County, both rural and urban, specializing in IDD-supported employment. She served as a VRC for the YTP grant, the Access grant. She built summer work programs with schools across Lane County, has mentored, trained, and partnered with countless transition specialists over the years. She understands the inner workings of networks and how we must work together to realize concrete outcomes for youth. And outside of work, she enjoys parenting her 15-year-old son with her husband, natural organic foods, and spending time with family and friends, and fishing, it looks like. So welcome, Tracy, to the team. Woohoo! We are growing, and it is all good. Okay, and then here you can see on our slide of our growing team, right? We've got Michelle Pruden in the mix here with our youth service coordinators. Now we have Hannah and Tracy with our Pre-ETS coordinators. We're hopefully really close to announcing the Pre-ETS coordinator for the East Metro area through the Gorge. And then my former position, we have renamed. So that was the YTP statewide coordinator. We renamed that the youth contracts coordinator, has posted and closed. We've screened and we will be scheduling interviews for that shortly. And I do have one update that is, it's good and it's a little sad, but our wonderful, amazing Marilyn Parks, who was our youth services coordinator for Lane, Lynn, Benton, Lincoln, and Tillamook. She and her family are welcoming a baby to their family. And so she has requested, and we have granted her request to go back to her VRC position because these positions require quite a bit of travel and on the road and everything like that. So she's not here today. She's out ill, but wanted to make sure that she is a youth advocate and an ally to all of us in this work, and that it was a hard decision, but is asking for your celebration for her too, and congratulations in joining a baby into their family. into their family. Yeah. Okay. So that is it for our hiring and recruitment updates. Now we have our YTP Winter Regional updates. This is our update number 2 for the day. And I want to start with some overviews. So what is going to be covered at all of these trainings? The content covered is going to include our first set of actions and procedures necessary for both VR staff and our school partners so that VR can begin using our Pre-ETS dollars to pay for these contracts again. Remember, we had that cease order. We haven't been able to use Pre-ETS dollars for these. So the purpose of this is to outline our first set of activities that we've got to start implementing in order to start using Pre-ETS dollars again. That's going to include stuff like verification of student with disability status, including how to make sure this is flagged in ORCA. We're even looking at a banner in ORCA that will show up when we open a client. It'll include how to have Pre-ETS or include Pre-ETS in an individual plan for employment, not just as a case note, but adding those services into our ORCA system so that it's easier for VRCs to include this in a logical way. Also, determining need and authorizing Pre-ETS for each student, service delivery options per Pre-ETS category, and available resources for those. It's important that both our VR staff know what are the Pre-ETS, which ones am I authorizing, what is the student need, and then what are the wonderful services that are available. And then finally, documentation and reporting of service delivery. So that's kind of the scope of these couple of days that we get together. Each of our events is available in person and virtually. We know the timing is a little bit rotten being in the middle of winter, and we know that the weather can be really dicey. That you are there is the most important thing, that you're safe, obviously, and that you're there. So we ask you to please make your choice about whether you're attending in person or virtually based on safety and your ability to be there. We again, everyone's participation and understanding the process is critical for us to move forward. Day 1 is required for VR branch managers and VRCs who carry youth on their caseload. Day 2 of each of them is required for those same VR staff and all YTP transition specialists, at least one YTP administrator per site, and one YTP business office representative per site. Okay. And then this is a really handy slide to look to when we share out this information. We are asking that you please attend the event that is aligned with your VR branch or office. Some of these, based on space, you guys, it's so hard to actually find space available for groups. It is trickier than one might imagine. So we had to work with what we could given our time frame. And we have February 7th and 8th in Bend for the Central and Eastern Oregon VR branches. February 12th and 13th in Seaside. We're going to go over this in more detail. So actually, I won't read through all this right now, but please do refer to this slide if you're wondering, and we'll be sending that out along with all the details that are coming up shortly, right after this. Wait, are you guys seeing the big slide? Are you still on overview? You're still on overview?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's overview number 2. This is the slide I'm talking about. That's very helpful for you to see all of the information. Yeah. Okay, Desi, you're on.
All right, Central and Eastern Oregon, we get to start it off. Our training is first. Whoop, whoop. So we're going to have that here in Bend, and it's going to be located at the ODHS building, so 1300 Wall downtown. Couple things to note, if you're not sure which office you're tied to, I've got it on here, so Central or Eastern Oregon. There is a virtual option. We know that weather can be dicey, especially for us over here in February. We'd love to see you in person, but completely understand we want, your safety comes first. If you do choose to attend in person, please drive around to the back. If you come to the back of the building, when you pull in, you'll see 1300 Wall really big on the building. If you go to the back, I can actually let you in through the back door into the Lewis and Clark room, and you wouldn't have to check in with ODHS. So that's one thing to note. There's visitor parking, but there will not be enough visitor parking for all of us. The rest of the parking is indicated for employees or staff only. It's okay. Park in that parking. They assured me that they do not start looking or doing anything to vehicles unless they're left after 5 p.m. And there's going to be lots of great options for lunch since it's right downtown. So any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out. Hopefully you all got the flyer I sent today for registration, but we'll see you here in a few weeks.
Thank you, Desi. CJ.
And for the North Coast, we are going to be at Seaside, and for the VR and YTP Partner Day is February 13th. It's a Tuesday, and it'll be at the Seaside Convention Center again. So there is plenty of parking there with public parking right next to the convention center.
And each of these has the little registration link. We'll send that out along with flyers and information afterwards. And we do want you to register so that we can try and get counts of who will be in person versus virtual, et cetera, et cetera. YTP Winter Regional Southern Oregon will be the 21st and 22nd of February. That will be held at the Jackson County Health and Human Services building. That's the lovely building that we had our VR regionals at last spring. Parking passes will be required for this location. So we'll be able to send those out to people who register ahead of time, but we'll also have some available at the table on site in case you forget or whatever. Consistently, we're going to have these 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And each of the registration, when you click into Event Squid, there's accommodation recommendations for hotels that offer government rates and those types of details. And the Columbia Gorge region through East Portland Metro. We know this is a drive for our friends in the gorge, but again, space is a conundrum sometimes. VR staff only will be February 27th. VR staff and partners the 28th. Duration 9 to 4:30. There's lunch and breaks built into all of these. And this is going to be at our Department of Human Services East Branch building that's on 118th and Gleason. Okay, something super important about this one, everybody, that will come out in the information, but you've got to register online at least a day ahead of time in order to enter the building. So we're going to end up giving the folks who are at the door, this is like a security operated entrance kind of situation. You've got to be on that list before the day of, or they will not let you in the building. So it's really important that that happens. Let us know if you have questions. Let Derek know if you have questions. This is his area and his region. But there's plenty of parking on site. And CJ, are you taking this one?
Yep.
All right.
So for the Mid-Valley, the dates are for VR only is the March 5th, and for the March 6th is VR with YTP partners, and it's going to be at Chemeketa Eola campus, which is off of Highway 22. And so whichever direction you're coming from Highway 22 on that road, I realize I shouldn't put this on there now that I look at it at the slide, you take a left into the Ola. It's just make sure you're not going too fast. It's a curvy road. And flyers are going to be coming out after we meet today. And it will come with some links to different food options.
Yep. So for each of these, lunch is going to be on your own, but we are giving 90 minutes for lunch. And this one in particular, there will be an option to order from a specific place. We don't pay for it. You pay for it, but you can be reimbursed, for the stuff when you're there. So watch for that information for this one. Okay, update number 3 is Oregon Statewide Transition Conference. Yes, we've been getting questions, and yes, current YTP budgets can still pay for registration, lodging, travel, for attendance if it's in your YTP budget. So please be sure to check with your YTP administrator or business office. Some sites had to cut their training and travel budgets pretty significantly this year. If it's there, it is an allowable expense, but you need to check with your admin and business office to make sure that that's their schools. Regarding lodging, our hotel block is not yet open. Please wait to secure and reserve your lodging until the block is announced. So please don't make those ahead of time now. And we've got two things going on March 13th at the Graduate. All right, so we're going to be having a VR training the day before the OSTC happens. These are two separate events. The VR training is hosted by VR Only, OSTCs by OSTC and TTAN. So the VR training is for the same people who were at our winter regionals. So it's VR and school staff supporting YTP. What it's going to be a review of our verify, authorize, and documentation requirements. So this is just another round. If you want to go deeper, if you have further questions, if doing one more round of all this information would be helpful, come to this. It's going to be 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So you have time to travel, hopefully, to it without having to stay overnight. But you could if you have the budget for it. And it'll go till 3:30 so that there's time, a little break in between that and the OSTC social. It is in person only. There's no virtual option for this one. And it's optional. So this one's not required. This is just an optional secondary dose of what we're going over in the winter regional series. Now the OSTC social also at the Graduate. We did that on purpose so you guys could stay in one place. Hopefully that's helpful. OSTC Social, of course, who is all of our educational partners throughout Oregon attending the conference. It's a time to gather and connect. That's 5:30 to 7 p.m. in person, optional, time to have fun and connect. And finally, we have new contract updates. This is our final update. All right, critical updates for the new contract. The new contract will be July 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. And then we're going to follow the federal fiscal year, October 1 through September 30th of each year. None of this should actually be new. I'm just, we're getting closer, so I'm clarifying. It will be a fee for service contract, and we are going to use the $50 an hour rate. Yeah, if you have questions about that, let's talk about it after the recording is over. It will be for Pre-ETS only at this point. For the time being, we're going to be just referring to this as a Pre-ETS contract, okay? It will be open to new districts. So if you have neighboring districts or know districts who have wanted to apply in the past, have eagerly been waiting for something to open, we are going to open this up to new districts. Our community of practice in February is going to be on February 26th. And this will be where we cover all of the final details of the contract. Also, we are going to be looking to merge the Pre-ETS and RFA contracts as early as summer 2025. So those of you who have RFA contracts right now for paid summer work, be thinking about that right now as we go into this next contract. Our target date to open the new contract is February 27th, right after the community of practice. This contract will be what's called an ORS 190 intergovernmental agreement, so there won't be an extensive procurement process. However, all contracting rules still apply, even though it's called an intergovernmental agreement. One of our TA providers, our technical assistance providers, just released a contracting guide that may be helpful for our fiscal partners. It's probably nothing new to you, but it's a nice reference to understand what we're being charged with and what we're being asked to do and moving away from this grant structure to a contract structure. So that's a good reference guide for you. Districts will have until March 25th to submit required materials if you're aiming for July 1 start date. That's a really quick turnaround time. We know that, but we're all on pretty accelerated timelines right now. Wanted to give you a preview of what the budget sheet draft is. This is what we're submitting to RSA. It's pretty simple. We're going to have maximum hours for arrangement and provision of Pre-ETS, maximum hours for Pre-ETS coordination activities, and we're going to our proposal is to allow up to 40% of your time for Pre-ETS coordination activities. And then a budget for per diem, mileage reimbursement, lodging, supplies, and we did stick student wages in there. And one more time, just reminder, save it on your calendar now. We're not, our February community practice can't be the second Monday because that's when we have the regionals in Seaside, because that's when the convention center was available. So it's not that second Monday. Nothing can ever go smoothly, right? So it's going to be the 26th of February. A new invite will be sent. That's when we're going to share all of our final known details about the contract, open up the contract, ask for people to submit their documentation in the next 4 weeks, essentially. And then boogie forward. Okay, let's stop recording and open up for questions.